Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to Jagged Alliance 2. We're picking up mostly where we left off here with our first squad camped out in San Mona on our way back to Drassen. Chitsina, of course, has basically fallen. I don't think they've officially taken over the town yet, but that'll be coming soon as we have no more resistance to offer there. Actually, I think maybe before we get started, Coyote and Grizzly are both fairly injured and their energy is quite low. So let's get it to maybe like midnight, and then we'll set out to see if we can get back to Drassen without encountering too many patrols along the way. So 9, 10, 11, and what does my energy look like here? 75. If we go ahead and let it tick to midnight, I'm thinking that should pass the 80% threshold, and indeed it does. Okay. We'll go ahead and follow the road at first. We've actually never moved through all of these sectors. There's enemies occasionally patrolling through B12 here, so they might get in our way. We might have to end up, kind of dodging and diving around everything there, but hopefully things go pretty smoothly. And of course, our very first sector,
we got a confirmed enemy presence.
Encounter a confirmed enemy presence. So we will fairly quickly get off of the roads. With John and Mary with us, we're not going to want to actually engage in any combat here. That would be tantamount to suicide, especially considering several of our guys are quite injured. I don't think I've necessarily ever shown this off on camera. Basically, if you get into this situation where you just need to get somewhere and avoid combat, you can trade off morale for it by just placing your entire squad in the corner there. And then as soon as you load in, you do a retreat. All mercs in squad, you'll move out, and you'll now be like cutting through the corner of this sector to come out up here. Now, the little music cue plays of like, oh god, we got defeated. Retreating from the sector is seen as a loss, and your troops do take a morale hit for it. So it's not something that you can do like all of the time, but for right now, at least, I don't feel like we necessarily have any other options. Like, this is just the way it's got to be for now. We need to get back and grab medical supplies and everything. It should have been, I'm thinking we're coming up on the third day since they were ordered from Bobby Ray's, so they may very well be there as we arrive, and that would be pretty darn swell.
It's a start anyway.
We got a confirmed enemy presence.
Alright, looks like we're going to encounter another group. Again, we can go to sector, and this is where it gets real cheesy, because what we're going to do, we'll place these guys in the top. As soon as they load in, we will head out. And we had enemy units to our north as well. But we're going to repeat this.
I'm going to drop if I don't get some sleep.
Yeah.
I'll be boss in no time.
Grizzly, we're going to need you to hold on for just a little bit longer. So again, we can go to sector. And the goal here would be to place our units on the far eastern border of the map, like so.
We have some inconveniences to dispose of.
We actually load into this one immediately spotting an enemy, but we're again just going to retreat out, and we end up...
Gotta think twice!
Gotta think twice before joining up with this squad. Fortunately, I cut him off there, but as you can see, that basically skips over this line of enemies that were in like column 9 here in all 3 sectors. We were able to sort of avoid that. So again, let's try to do it from the north, hopefully not encountering anything. We do also have an email that has shown up. Let me quickly check out that. Oh, Spec. You're getting my hopes up. I was hoping for a Bobby Ray's delivery notification. We
hitting
also...
a wall here.
Yeah.
Gotta sleep.
The hitting a wall here thing is a little bit scary. Oh, and then another email about an hour later. Let's go ahead and do this for right now. I'm going to go ahead and just set these guys with that as their destination. We'll take a break for a little bit because both Coyote and Grizzly are, as they put it, hitting a wall. More email. Awesome. This time from Bobby Ray's that our shipment should be waiting for us, which is going to be fantastic. That is absolutely what we need.
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Alright. With these guys being there, I'm going to be real cautious. So, one other thing. If we end up resting in this sector, we have to worry about an enemy patrol wandering into us. And if they were to do so, they might catch us off guard, and we wouldn't be able to get out of the sector. So we're going to go ahead, or like, it wouldn't give us an opportunity to position ourselves. Like, we would just effectively start combat where we were already pre-positioned. So we're going to take the extra opportunity here to position on the east side of the sector, so that in case we run into anything while we're just resting, we can get out of here.
What?
And as long as we're here, Bull's not super happy with us, but there is an old abandoned house out here. I'm going to go ahead and send him to check it out and see if there are any supplies inside, anything worthwhile that we might want to take here. Alright, he's on his way. He can just catch up with everybody else. Now, I know this isn't super filled with excitement at the moment. One of the like kind of interesting things, and I would definitely say the mod has moved more and more towards this as the game has been out for longer and longer, is you know, the difficulty curve in the game. You know, we start talking about people with literally a decade or more of experience playing it. They're of course going to find the game easier and easier over time. And so we end up with something that I can't argue that it's not an accurate model of reality, but it's not typically what you would expect a difficulty curve in a video game to be like, which is early on, we've got to find like a foothold in this rebellion that we are trying to orchestrate. Like, it's not just going to happen, right? Like, we've got to be the instigators of it. And in the beginning, we don't have a lot to work with. You know, low on supplies, low on money. We're like ragtag bunch of 18 guys just kind of trying to do the impossible. So once we get to a certain point, you know, there's kind of a tipping point where you start to gain a little bit of momentum. Towards the end, you know, you feel like a fairly powerful unit moving around. I think with just a little bit of guns, and that turned out to be a complete waste of time. But with, you know, just a few guns for everybody, so we can stop shooting pistols. You know, like, we're actually not looking too awful right now. We've probably, with taking Chesina, I could check. There's a hotkey off the top of my head. I don't remember what it is, that will display some info about what is going on. And one of those info pieces is actually your current tech level. But just judging from the fact that we landed a lot of submachine guns after taking Chesina, we've probably moved on to like tech level 2. And in doing so, are going to find it a little bit easier to start progressing. Also, this supply shipment did purchase a couple of shotguns for us and an ample amount of buckshot ammo. And I was going to say early game, but really shotguns remain fairly viable throughout the entire game. From early on to late game, I'd say they're never super overpowered. I've actually opted for maybe an interesting decision with the shotguns that I purchased, which are going to be the Bakal 223, I think is the model number. and it's a double barrel, like, break action shotgun. The reason for doing that is I kind of overvalue the ability to take 2 shots in a single turn over, versus like the pump action shotgun, for example. Oh, I'm not leaving here. I tend to value that over any kind of ammo concerns, because usually if you can front load that damage to the point that you're taking 2 shots in 1 turn, you could do a turn without shooting. I prefer that additional sort of burst or alpha damage coming out of us, and it makes those characters fairly powerful. They're also going to be great in the hands of some of our kind of B squad guys that don't have the greatest marksmanship to start with. The buckshot can do a lot to make up for that. So I think that's going to be a big boost in power. Also, just finally getting some more medical supplies, and I believe 1 or 2... Oh, and there we go. 1 or 2 repair kits so that we can get all of our guns to stop jamming. I'm sure Ira will appreciate that. Now, we did get the prompt here that enemy forces have just taken over Sector A2, Chitsina. We'll acknowledge that. Basically, that was just a formality. We didn't have any militia. They had tried to reinforce each other, and it all fought here in B2. And it all died. They didn't manage to actually move on into the other sector until just now. Now, with that, we're going to get a cutscene. Our enemy has to gloat for a moment, basically. We'll go ahead and check out what Deidranna has to say about her recent victories.
Elliot, I do have things to do, you know.
Of course, my queen. I know that you are a very busy woman, but I insisted that I see you right away. I bring great news.
Well, Elliot, this is indeed a change of pace.
Yes, Your Highness. I am pleased to report that we have taken back one of the cities. The report should be coming in soon.
Elliot, you idiot! Getting something back that is already mine is not good news! It shouldn't have been lost in the first place! Now get out of here and leave me be!
As you command, Your Highness.
Now, that is a lady who does not know how to accept good news. She, of course, viewed it as we're back to square one. You know, she didn't make any progress. Her goals have been squashing a rebellion that's been going on for a while here in Omerta. So to her, it just sort of felt like the rebels recently maybe resurfaced or surged forward, and the fact that she pushed them back a little isn't necessarily a victory in her mind. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity while I see that the surrounding sectors are clear, kind of make a break for it across A12 here, and hope that we can get to Drassen Airport without encountering...
I'm gonna drop if I don't get some sleep.
Any more hostilities. Oh, wow. Grizzly was a lot more exhausted than I was that time. I did not consider that. So let me get super gamey here. Sorry, big guy, but we really need you up and at 'em at the moment. So if I select Grizzly, I can get him back up. So regardless of the fact that he refused to do anything but sleep in the strategic map, when we come into the tactical map, he will move for us, and we can force him to exit the sector by just walking him to the other side. Again, I understand, not exactly riveting gameplay. One interesting note, this is largely how you speedrun the game. I find that, like, very interesting. I'm not, like, a huge speedrunning fan, you know, I like, or playing in that nature, at least. It's not for me. But I really appreciate, like, sort of the art and nuance to it sometimes. Speedruns of Jagged Alliance 2 are done. They are usually done by really abusing this mechanic to force guys to move on. It's usually done with a single unit and they just sort of avoid combat the entire time, move immediately to the sector that the queen is going to be in, and assassinate her through a combination of sort of interesting plays. It can be done fairly quickly. Like, I'm pretty sure you win on like day 1 or day 4 or something. Whenever the initial drop comes in, it doesn't take much more than that. You just sort of push your guy past any kind of reasonable breaking point, rest up for a little bit, and then make a final charge in on like a night stealth op mission. Move in, kill the queen, and Bob's your uncle. Not something that we're going to be doing here, but I think actually watching that like years ago, seeing somebody beat the game in like an hour, was the thing that kind of made me aware that this worked, or that you could sort of abuse your own mercenaries this way by, just cracking the whip and forcing them to keep marching, even though they insist on a break. In the real world, the Marine Corps, we would always march on a cycle of 50 minutes with then a 10-minute rest. And 10 minutes isn't very long when you've been on the move for 50, but it's an opportunity for everybody, kind of readjust equipment. You'd be surprised, like, this is a fairly small unit and everything, but it's important that everybody keep moving.
I forget again.
You can't take a break every time one of a couple dozen guys, need to stop and adjust their shoe or something. So those hourly breaks give you an opportunity to sort of readjust gear, maybe redistribute water on your person as you're generally drinking while you're moving. You might have run out of water in, whatever camelback or canteen that you might have been drinking from, and need to get something out of a pack, grab a snack, that sort of thing. We don't want selected mercs. Not everybody is in range.
Yes.
Dimitri, of course, he got a little confused. And so those types of 10-minute breaks were very useful. Several hours into a long hump would usually be about the time, you would have like changes of socks on you. You would want to swap out the pair that you were wearing, as they would get rather gnarly after a while, and foot health is extremely important. You would not believe the number of wars won and lost because of people's feet. So things like that become extremely important.
I'm here.
Pushing
What
everybody
next?
to their breaking point like this, probably not the best idea. But in our video game, it is going to be the strategy that we're employing. For at least right now, we're almost there. We're like so close to Drassen Airport. If Grizzly would just help us out a little bit here, man. Keep a walking. I think, honestly, if somebody was in this bad of shape, there's a good chance they would be getting carried by now. Which I would not be that excited to have to carry Grizzly. He's a pretty big guy. And I can't imagine that would be something that would feel good over a long period of time. Try to get these guys to that clearing. The one thing that can also get super annoying is as the energy level gets low enough, he might start like collapsing and needing to rejuvenate throughout the sector. Doesn't seem like it applies anymore. If I remember right, in the some of the speedruns I've seen on an older build of the game, or most likely the actual like 1.12 release copy, Bull comes with a canteen, and he's one of the cheapest mercenaries to do so. So he has a canteen of water with him. Water can regain, not past this like maximum, but it could regain back up to it. So it would usually involve hiring Bull and someone, like a stealthy mercenary to send out. And the only reason to hire Bull like that would be to pass on his canteen at the very start, so that they could further push their mercenary on by letting him drink water as he's moving throughout the sectors in order to keep his energy high. Unfortunately, we do not have a canteen, but we've gotten down to 5, and there we go. John made it into range. And so we are finally out of here. Thank RNGesus. So, with that, they'll be arriving safely here.
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
We've got one final bit of housekeeping to do, which is just going to be getting these guys then positioned somewhere that's not awful in case we take a counterattack. So I'd like them inside the fence line, please. And we'll say, right about here should be okay. The other guys are over there inside the fence. Also, we have completed our objective, which was to get John and Mary both back to the Drassen airport, so their ill-fated adventures in Aruba/Arulco could finally come to an end. And we're going to be able to complete that, which is awesome. And probably going to get started on our next quest. I wish I could swap back out to the map to kind of demonstrate this a little bit better, but hopefully you guys remember more or less what it looks like. The sort of strategic plan at the moment, Chitsina, the city that we most recently took over and then had to abandon as a counterattack was launched against it. Chitsina is going to be lost for a little while. If you noticed when the sector was taken in that 60 v 10 sort of battle that our militia had, a lot of those 60 guys were like fully camoed up and in black gear. Those are Deidranna's like elite death squad kind of guys, and we can't fight them. Like not right now anyway. They have much better gear, much better stats. They're just better people than we are in almost every way, and so we want to stay very far away from them this early in the game. And so she doesn't have a ton of them at her disposal, but she brings them out for special occasions, and apparently counterattacking us for the first time felt like one of those special occasions. So retaking Chitsina is going to be something that's put off for a little while. We don't want to fight 59 of those guys. I know it wasn't all of them. There were at least like a dozen of the elites with the unit that came, and the rest were probably just sort of standard guys. Oh, and that was the sound of a grizzly hitting the ground. Yep. Yeah, where does a 300-pound grizzly sleep? Just anywhere he wants. So with that in mind, we're going to be kind of leaving Chitsina to its own devices for a little while. And what that means is, this may finally have explained, in case you're unfamiliar with the game or the gameplay, why we've been splitting up Drassen the way that we have. Taking 2 of the 3 sectors, and we've taken the most important of those sectors, the mine and the airport. There's a middle part of the town. It'd be nice to have it. We could certainly move back and forth across the city a little bit easier, but it's not imperative that we have it. And not taking the entire city prevents Deidranna from launching any sort of counterattack against us. Grizzly does not have enough to stand. Also, for whatever reason, me giving that command made Mary crouch down. Okay. All right, Mary. Well, Grizzly's gonna just take a little bit of a nap for a while, and maybe he'll get a move on later. It's okay. The grass is cool and refreshing. And he'll be all right. So doing this with Drassen has kept Deidranna from launching any sort of counterattack against us, and it's allowed us to keep this town longer than we would have if we would have just come at it full force. We can't stay like this forever, but I'm thinking we're probably going to need to spend a little bit of time recouping now that we're in Drassen, now that we've got the supplies that we need, etc., etc. We're actually doing fairly well on money at the moment. That brief period of time where we had both mines operational definitely has got us in the black. So with that, we'll be kind of resting and relaxing here for a little while, making our next plan. And that's probably going to be moving on Cambria, which is the sort of central city It's rather large at 5 sectors total, so we can expect a pretty brutal fight when we do get there to take it.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm thinking that as soon
Can't
as...
believe I've finally seen this place. A dead town in a dead-end country. Mary, do you have any money we can give to say thanks for all they've done?
I'll be boss in no time. I'm paying attention.
Alright, so John
It's a
decided
start
to
anyway.
interrupt lots of level ups, so that's totally
This is
fine.
all the vacation money we have. But I don't mind giving it to you in the least. Just to be safely out of this country and back into the arms of my children and grandchildren. Oh, it's worth every dime.
Wow, ton of level ups. That's super awesome. Dimitri got level 2. Oh, no, Dimitri gained 2 levels. Wow. That is
Come
pretty
to
awesome.
think of it, I have something you can use, but it's at home. They wouldn't let me take it on the plane. Customize myself a pair of real handy sidearms to take care of any burglars that might need to be shot. I'll send it to you once I get back. I'm really kind of proud of them. Pack one darn mean punch. Thanks for everything. I realize you went out of your way.
Aw, thanks, John. Alright, so money's been given to Ira. How much money did they give us? 2 grand. Okay, I'll definitely take that. And deposit into accounts. Awesome. Alright, so that actually worked out pretty darn well. I'm fairly okay with that. So as I was saying, and now that we can check this out. Alright, everybody has made it as far as we need to make it. So Cambria here is probably our next destination hotspot for a city. The mine is at the far edge of the town, so we'll have to fight across a bit of stuff to get to it. But that'll be fine. We should be okay. And I'm thinking probably around the same time that we're launching our attack against Cambria will be when we finally end up taking Drassen. And with that goal in mind, we've got a few other things that we'd like to start doing in the northeast kind of quadrant of the country. Namely, it's been mentioned that there might be a pilot available for us, and that's something that we'd like to see. So that's probably going to be something that we start doing soon. Now that we've got kind of our A-team back here in Drassen, and they're going to need to rest for a while, I think it's time we brought out the B-team and sort of saw what there is to see. Also, the crate's already open, so I can actually view the sector inventory directly. I don't know what closes the crate, but sometimes it will be closed when shipments arrive, and you'll have to go open it in order to view all this stuff. So, first things first, I have purchased several medical kits. 4. Now, at the time that I bought 4 seemed like a lot. Considering that I'm probably about to use several of them right now, 4 suddenly doesn't seem like a lot. But I did also get enough first aid kits to sort of pass out to everybody, and that was another big goal there, was to not be in a position where we had to use a medical kit to stabilize somebody when a first aid kit would do, as the med kits have much better uses, namely what we're about to use them for right now, which is healing everybody up. So what we're going to do is assign everybody that wants to be a patient to patient duty. Unfortunately, a lot of people want to be patients right now. So she'll become a doctor. Can she perform necessary surgeries on 5 patients? I'm going to go with no. And we'll just take the slow route to getting everybody patched up. The surgeries would allow us to heal like a big chunk of health, but it's not efficient overall for like total item usage. Unfortunately, we need efficient overall right now. Also, that's a mistake. These guys haven't been training the militia, and that was likely due to me not reassigning them after the last time we got attacked there. All right. Other than that, we've got, as you can see, a little bit of gear to sort of load out here. We've got two, did I say 223 earlier? It's 233B Bacall shotguns, two M29 Satans. This is actually like a one-of-a-kind custom handgun, if I remember correctly. But you can just buy them like they were a standard issue sort of firearm in this game. They're basically like an awesome 6-shooter. I might end up dual wielding them on Coyote just because of how awesome that sounds, but we'll see. Other than that, also wanted to go ahead and pick up a Trapper. It's a lever action 44 rifle. This early in the game, it's got some really decent range on it. As you can see, like compared to even 16 misrepresents it. So the 38 has a range of 10. Like Fox has been using something with a range of 11. Maybe the best thing we've had so far. Grizzly has been using something with a range of 17. The Trapper has a range of 21. And so this early in the game, that's a pretty decent rifle for us. And it uses 44 Magnum rounds, which are pieces of ammunition we can come by pretty easily, so that's good as well. We'll go ahead and end up distributing all this stuff and basically letting our guys take some well-needed R&R for a while. It's day 16 at 1913. We'll probably end up coming back after we've had a little bit of time to have everybody rest up, maybe in a couple of days from now. So by the time we join it, we'll be ready to do something besides just stare at a clock ticking away. Maybe go on that next quest. But, you know, at least John and Mary have lived to see their children and grandchildren again, and we've done a good deed. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to subscribe for more videos every single day. Leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other episodes, and I will catch you guys next time.